Hey, welcome back, guys. This is Stage 4, Intelligentsia Cup. This is the South Chicago Kermesse. It is right on the lake. It is windy. It is dead flat. And hey, guys, I do Alviso all the time, almost every week. So I like this flat and windy stuff. But before we get into the race, let's talk about how to move up while saving energy. So this is on the back side of the course. This is into a straight headwind. It's almost always better to make a pass in a headwind section like this, and that's because the group gets all compressed. You can see it's like 7 or 8 riders wide through here. So if you can pass, 3 people, really you're passing like 15 people because of all the people that you're passing on the left and right of you. If you do the same thing on the tailwind side of the course, where it gets all strung out in single file, you're going to be spending a lot more energy to only pass like 2 or 3 people at a time. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So if you can find a way to navigate through the pack on the headwind section, that's ideal, but people at this level of racing don't usually just leave spaces for you to move up. You can see any little gap that's left open, there's usually somebody that's filling in. So it comes down to risk tolerance and how comfortable you feel riding in real close proximity to people in order to make up a few spots almost for free. And the second best way to move up, still in the headwind section obviously, is by finding somebody who is willing to get out into the wind, unsheltered, to the side of the group like you can see this guy in front of me is doing now, and get in their draft. See, this is moving up for free right here, and for bonus points, pick a big guy for extra draft like I did here. And you can see I just moved up like 12 places, almost for free. I barely had to push any watts. These tips are going to be important at the end of this race, so hang in there, guys. Alright, so let's talk about this race and kind of how things unfolded. I'm picking up action here with 8 kilometers to go. This is about a lap and a half to go, but well before this, there was a lot of early activity, as you can imagine, in the wind. A lot of people want to join a breakaway. A couple of my teammates, Team Taeroon Elite, they were super active, which is great. It takes the pressure off me having to stay up towards the front. I didn't really feel compelled to mark a whole lot of attacks, knowing that I had teammates up the road, and there was a lot of early shuffling going on. I know that my teammate Bobby was in an early move, and also my other teammate Andrew, he was in a chase group. So we were well represented in these early breakaway groups. But those were all brought back, and eventually Bobby, my teammate, initiated the breakaway of the day, which also included my other teammate Andrew. And this was like the perfect scenario for us because Andrew and Bobby are really strong breakaway riders, especially in the wind like this. And back in the field, Zach and I, the other 2 Taeroon Elite guys, we are field sprinters. So we really depend on teammates to join breakaways like this. That allows us to kind of sit back, relax, and spend as little energy as possible just staying sheltered in the field. And it's a win-win situation because if the breakaway stays away, then Bobby and Andrew battle it out in the front group, and that's great. It's like 2 out of 14. The breakaway group is about 14 or something like that. And then if the breakaway gets caught, and by the way, it seemed like Project Echelon wasn't super happy with the composition of the breakaway, and here's why. Project Echelon has the race leader. That's Brandon here in the yellow jersey. And at this point in the race, second overall is Hayden Strong from Texas Roadhouse, and Hayden made the breakaway. So even though Project Echelon, they have a guy in the breakaway, they're still going to want to chase this back to preserve their Omnium lead. And this is why race awareness is so important. If Brandon's teammate was in the breakaway just driving it really hard, they're basically fighting against themselves. They have people chasing back in the field. In fact, Brandon himself was chasing back in the field a lot. And then you also have a teammate who is in the front group who is trying to escape. So you're essentially working to chase a group back, and then you have a teammate who is working to not get chased back. He's working to stay away, and that is not how successful teamwork goes down in this sport. And the Project Echelon guys are really good racers, so the guy who's up in the breakaway is smartly not doing any work and causing disruption in the group. You can see that causes a lot of frustration in the group. And usually this is like the death knell for a breakaway group, because for a breakaway group to be successful, you need everybody working together, or at least not like actively trying to disrupt the smooth rhythm of a rotating pace line in a breakaway group. So what I thought this meant, I thought this was going to come back together and come down to a field sprint. That's what it was looking like for me, which is still good news for us, right? Because I have Zach, and we can support each other in a field sprint. But instead what ended up happening is the breakaway actually just kind of fell apart and broke into a group of riders who were motivated to ride hard on the front, and then a group of riders who were either too tired to stay in the front group or not motivated to work hard in the front group. So they actually preserved their gap, and it ended up being a successful, like 12 riders, I think, that were kind of fragmented in the end. In the final lap, it all fell apart, but that's what ended up staying off the front, about 12 riders. But hey, that wasn't going to slow me down. I still wanted to go really hard in the field sprint. There was still money on the line. There were still Omnium points on the line, and plus I still had a teammate who was in the front group. So I'm still looking for opportunities to move up very efficiently, and I'm going to use some of those tactics we talked about in the first half of this video to walk you through the last half lap here. All right, so 3.6 Ks to go on the last lap, and we're on the headwind section. So I'm going to use some of those tips that I gave you guys in the first half of the video, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to follow this guy who is about to put his nose in the wind on the headwind section. I'm going to get to move up here for free. I'm just making up like 10 spots right there, 12 spots. Still not an ideal position, but I'm not having to use some crazy amount of power to move up like this because I'm sitting in people's draft in a headwind. It's ideal. And I'm also not going to let gaps in front of me open up and let people fill that in. I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive. I'm going to assert myself like I did right there. I'm going to fill in that gap, move up a few more spots while maintaining good draft in the headwind section here. And I do want to set myself up on the right-hand side of the road here. Again, I'm jumping on this guy's wheel. I'm going to move up. And now I'm getting in better position. I can see the front. I'm probably 12th right here or something like that. I want to make sure I stay sheltered in the wind. And like I was saying, I want to hold my position on the right-hand side of the road, because as you do the turnaround, the 180 at the end here, when you start coming back, you really feel the crosswind. And you have to stay in good position and as sheltered as possible on that final tailwind leg, because there's really not much moving up. Like I talked about before, that's the last place you want to make up ground is on a tailwind, strong tailwind into a finish like that. And because the end of the course has that little dog leg left to it, you really feel that left to right crosswind. So it's important to set up in that final hairpin on the right, and that's kind of how I got burned last year. So I'm going to fight here. I'm going to eat a little bit of wind as the road turns, because I just want to make sure I stay in good position. And what happens is I get swarmed on the right. I was kind of worried that was going to happen. Project Echelon wasn't there to control it and keep it really fast. They'd spent all their pennies trying to chase the breakaway back unsuccessfully, so there wasn't great control on the front. What that means is there are these surges in speed, and you can lose a lot of wheels really quickly. As a result of that, I did lose a few wheels. I did pretty good to infiltrate back in, but now I'm not set up on the right-hand side of the road to prepare for the left to right crosswind I'm about to feel after this turnaround. And of course, there's dive bombers. Like, it's this hairpin just like last year. These people are just going to ride super hard into this corner. Jesus, take the wheel, and this guy crashes, because that's what happens on this course. People just desperately, they're out of position and they're just desperate to make up position, so they come in way too hot into that corner, and there's a crash. So now there's separation. I was on the happy side of the separation though, and now I am on the right hand side of the road, but I'm kind of paying for it because this pavement is really rough. So that's what it's costing me to get a good draft is that crappy pavement. But I am getting a good draft here. I want to make sure this guy's like letting this wheel drop. So I closed that down. But now there isn't much of a crosswind anymore, right? The road is straightened out. It is like a straight tailwind. We're going 38 miles an hour. And I really should start moving up now, because my teammate Zach, he's still in front of me. He's like 4 wheels in front of me, 3 wheels in front of me. He's in the ideal position, and I should be going really hard right now and just screaming Zach as loud as I can so he jumps on my wheel. We could have probably done a better job to lead each other out here. I could have done a better job, but instead I wait here, and once I see the door starting to close, I immediately go, and I'm just trying not to get pinched into the curb right there. And now I'm just pushing. The guy behind me shoots this gap that doesn't even exist. It's crazy. Glad nobody crashed. I'm up against the curb, but now it's like now or never, right? So I'm just sprinting. I'm going as hard as I can. Team Novo Nordisk guy got the jump on me, and I put my head down. I get passed by, I think, one more guy at the line, but it was a decent sprint. I was really happy to be up there in the mix. Like I said before, guys, results get better and better. So thanks for hanging in there. Subscribe if you like this content. Click like if you want to see more of it. And hey, let me know about your tips in the comments below about riding in the wind. So thanks, guys. See you at the next one.
Hayden Strong's going to come around on the outside. Hayden Strong won 1850. Grab the third spot. Hella here, yellow jersey, got deep behind. He's going to have to try and move through some traffic.